This
Great.
conference will now be recorded.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to month 4, Effective Copywriting. I'm your course director. My name is Elena Rogal. I am a graduate of Full Sail University. In 2013, I graduated Full Sail online with my MFA in creative writing, so I know exactly what you guys are going through. I also have a bunch of English degrees. I have my bachelor's and my master's in literature, along with my MFA in creative writing and a graduate certificate in gender studies. And I'm currently working on my PhD in text and technology. I specialize in the women writing of the Beat generation and moving them from manuscript culture into the digital space and hopefully creating a digital archive. So I know what it's like because I keep doing this to myself, what it's like to work full time, have a family, do homework, juggle deadlines, get things done, uh, you know, eat ramen noodles. I've been there, I've done that. So, later this week, probably tomorrow, I will share my time management secrets and I'll put those up in the community discussion board because that is one thing I can guarantee you will help you over the rest of this program because, as you know, it's only going to get busier and you have 8 more months to get through. But let's just take it one week at a time. That's how I kind of handle things with my PhD program, one class at a time. So let's just focus today on testimonial ads, headlines, and writing body copy. So what you're going to be doing this month is creating testimonial magazine ads for the nonprofit organization that you choose in week 1. And I'll go over all the assignments in a minute. Um, but what we're going to do is learn how to write copywriting, how to write copy for these nonprofit organizations, magazine ads, to get them to raise money maybe through a membership drive or raise awareness through an awareness campaign or maybe create an event for them and advertise the event so that people come to the event. So we're going to do that through the power of the testimonial. So a testimonial ad is really just someone speaking for your product, your service, your nonprofit organization. And we've all seen ads with spokespeople in them. So basically, that's what you're going to be working on starting in week 2. But just to give you a little background, what you're going to be thinking about is who's going to be a good person to be a spokesperson for your nonprofit organization. Because the person that you choose should have kind of like a connection to the organization. Like maybe they're known as an animal lover, or maybe they're a veterinarian and they donate their services to an animal nonprofit. Maybe they are a celebrity chef and they donate their services to a food bank. So those are the types of people that might be good representatives of your organization. So when you think about who's representing your organization, you can think about the type of approach you want to take, and I'll show you some examples. There's always, nonprofit organizations raising money. It's a serious business. These nonprofit organizations do serious work, and they need these donor dollars to continue with this work. I spent 14 years working for PBS and NPR, and I know how much fundraising was a big part of what I had to do as the art director and creative services manager for both stations. And I've been working in nonprofit through my little freelance company. I do pro bono work for nonprofits because I know how hard it is for them to raise money, let alone to spend money on things like design. So that's going to be part of what we're going to be working on this month. So here's some examples of some testimonial ads. This is an ad for PETA, and this is Paul McCartney, who is a vegetarian, and he's supporting PETA by telling his story in the body copy where he talks about why he's a vegetarian. So the headline is very simple and straightforward. I am Paul McCartney and I am a vegetarian. Then in the body copy, which is over his shoulder there, he talks about why he's a vegetarian and why he thinks you should be one too. So the headline's grabbing the attention. It's working with the image that is Sir Paul McCartney. You hear his voice and tone through the story that he is telling in the body copy, and he's trying to get you to support PETA as well. This is an example of a student ad from the Bright Focus Foundation that this student did in my class a while ago. I thought it was really good because she nailed it with the headline of, "I used to be his little girl, now I'm the stranger who brings him coffee." So Bright Focus Foundation is an organization that helps caregivers of Alzheimer's patients and gives them the tools and the services that they need to be good caregivers. So through this headline, it grabs your attention. Then you look at the images of her as the little girl with her dad, and now he's this old man, and he's the stranger who she brings coffee to. And through her story, her personal narrative, she talks about how the organization has helped her. So they need your money to help other people help caregivers as well. So that's a pretty serious ad, but it touches on that heartstring. It pulls by using that personal narrative. The voice and tone represents that organization and the person who is the spokesperson, the girl that's testifying here. But nonprofits can take a humorous approach as well. This is Einstein the dog, and he's being used as the spokesperson for the Shelter Pet Project. And he's talking through his own personal experience of having been adopted through Shelter Pet Project and how a person is the best thing to happen to any shelter pet. So here Einstein's telling his story of not only how he was adopted, but how he had to break in his new owner. So it takes a humorous approach, but it also uses something called personification. Personification is where you take these human-like qualities and put them on an inanimate object, or in this case, an animal. An example of a testimonial ad using an inanimate object and personification is this student ad that was done for Human Rights Watch. This student decided that her campaign was going to be created around the Human Rights Watch boutique. It was a place where people could donate their gently used items, and they were going to be sold in the boutique, and all the proceeds were going to go to the Human Rights Watch campaign to help protect international human rights. So you're hearing the voice and the tone of the shoe who's excited that she found a new home because she was sold through the Human Rights Watch boutique, and the body copy talks about what went on and how she became this integral part of raising money for this nonprofit organization. So these are just some ideas of how a spokesperson works in a testimonial ad. And next week we'll dive even deeper into testimonials and talk specifically about what you're going to be creating this month for your nonprofit organization. But now I just want to kind of go over some basics of copywriting. This is not the class about copyright infringement, the R in the circle, or using other people's work. This is about writing advertising copy that sells. You're going to be tasked, we're going to pretend that this nonprofit organization has called you up and said, we would like to see some ideas for some testimonial magazine print ads that help us raise money or help us raise awareness. So you have to write the copy and design these ads over these next 4 weeks. And we're going to make it as real world as possible because I think you learn better by experiencing real world situations. So when you're starting to write copy, you want to think about how each piece of the ad copy works. So I explained with this ad how the headline and the subhead really drive the point home of, who's speaking in the ad, how the body copy sells that organization. So we're going to start with the headline and how you grab your audience. So you want to think about the headline as that key element in print advertising. It's usually the first thing people read, and it kind of connotates that specific message of the ad itself. So it's going to work in tandem with the image and create what we call synergy. So your headline is really super important. It might not be very long, but each word you choose, and that's where the copywriter comes in, each word you choose is very important. So writing a headline that grabs attention is going to be the main thing that drives the success of your print ad. So your headline could possibly offer something new, talk about maybe this new concert that's coming to town. It could solve a problem. It could focus on a benefit. So for nonprofit organizations, they all have features. Every product, service, everything out there has features, those things that it comes with. But it's the benefits that separate them from the pack. So you always want to focus on the benefits, not the features. The benefit is that thing that differentiates them from every other organization or product out there. A headline can also be used to raise curiosity. So there's a couple of different types of headlines that you can write. A direct action headline is very straightforward. It's to the point. It's commanding somebody to do something. It's telling the reader exactly what they need to be reading here and what this is about. So it's very straightforward. It's concise. The message is very clear. Now, an indirect action headline could be a little bit more intriguing. It might be a little bit more creative because it's not as straightforward. It might be asking a question or creating a puzzle or making somebody like so interested in what the headline says that they have to read the body copy to figure out what is going on. So an example of this type of headline that I actually personally reacted to and this ad is now residing in my swipe file is this ad. I thought this cracked me up. I'm like, I am not a pet. I'm like, what do you mean, cat? You're a pet. You're a cat. Of course you're a pet. So the way he's smirking and the way he's being so adamant in his voice and tone about not being a pet really aroused my curiosity about why this cat thinks he's not a pet. So I read the copy, and the cat tells me in the body copy how he's not a pet because pets get, pet food. He's a member of the family, and he's fed Iams cat food. So no pet owners, no pets, no owners, just family. As being a part of the family, being fed Iams cat food elevates him, so he is not a pet. And I thought that was a really creative way of grabbing someone's attention, demonstrating how that headline works with the image to create this intriguing puzzle that I have to read the body copy. And I'm like, oh, Iams cat food is so good that suddenly this cat is no longer just a pet, but he is a member of the family. So that's what you want to think about when you're writing headlines. Now, David Ogilvy, who I'm going to talk about a little bit more when I talk about body copy, he's kind of considered the godfather of advertising. He's the one that the TV show Mad Men was based on. He says that on average, 5 times as many people read the headlines as read the body copy. So in terms of every advertising dollar that you spend, 80% of that dollar is spent on the headline. So it has to be important. It has to be intriguing. It has to pull the audience in to read the body copy, because the body copy is where the actual selling goes on. With a nonprofit organization, yes, you are selling the organization. You are educating the reader on who that organization is, what that organization does, and why it's important that the reader support their efforts. Make a donation, come out and volunteer, whatever your call to action is going to be. So it's in the body copy where you're going to reveal exactly why your nonprofit is important, what they do, and why the audience should support them. So from David Ogilvy's book on advertising, he has these 7 tips for writing body copy that sells. Because remember, if you create a magazine print ad and you write effective copy and the reader immediately goes to the website and makes a donation, it's successful. If they just read the headline and turn the page, then it's not successful. So it's your job as the copywriter on this project to really sell the organization. So David Ogilvy says you should go big or go home. Create that compelling argument as to why the person should continue reading and why they should support your organization or buy your product. So you need to do your homework. You need to understand who you're selling to. With a nonprofit organization, you have to understand who is going to support the organization or who needs to use the services of the organization through an awareness campaign. So you have to do your homework on your target audience so that you know who you're writing for, how that person thinks, and what that person needs. To write great copy, you need to understand your audience. Now, next week, we're going to do a target audience profiles project where we're going to do just that. We're going to do research and zero in on our target audience members. The third tip that David Ogilvy offers is the idea that you should never talk down to your customer. And if that was true in the 1950s, it's even more so now, because we are inundated by advertising messages thousands of times a day. So people are very savvy when it comes to being sold, and they don't want to be talked down to. So you have to understand your target audience and speak to them in that voice and tone that they will relate to and that they will connect with, so that you can get them to make that donation. And remember, that headline is the thing that's going to grab them. So 80% of the work is being done in the headline. If you write a great headline and then don't write strong body copy, you're not going to get that donation or get people to click through to your website. So the headline is very important, but you also have to back it up with good body copy, because you don't want to get distracted from making that sale. Doesn't matter if it's a product or a service or a nonprofit organization. That body copy needs to make the sale. So your body copy should explain with the nonprofit organization why that organization is important. If it's a product, explain why it's a good deal. If it's an organization and it's about children, a nonprofit about children, and you're placing this ad in, say, Family Circle magazine, and you know the target audience is going to be women ages 25 to 54, then you would know why they would be interested in supporting that nonprofit organization, that children's charity. If it's a product, you should understand why they should buy it from you. Make that compelling argument. So you want to make sure, especially with a nonprofit organization and a testimonial ad, that they trust you. The power of the testimonial resides in the trust that the reader has with the person testifying for your nonprofit. So that's really important, the trust factor. The last tip he gives is that the copy may be short, but it's very important. Each word needs to be crafted and thought about, and first thought, best thought only worked for poet Allen Ginsberg, and the rest of us have to revise, rewrite, rethink. So you have to treat copy as important. You can't just slap it out there and pretend like it's done and it's great, because you have to really understand who your audience is. So I thought this was a really intriguing way to look at headlines and body copy. This is from my swipe file. I love Volkswagen buses. I would love to own a green 79 Volkswagen Westphalia in my dreams. So I have a lot of Volkswagen ads, because I think they do really, really super creative advertising. So what happened was, a few years ago, the flat-fronted bus that looks like the ones from the 60s and 70s were still being made in Brazil up until a few years ago, but Volkswagen had to discontinue them because they're not really safe. You can't put an airbag in a vehicle that has no front to it, basically. So they were going to stop production on these, but they knew that this was a specific tribe of people that loved this brand and loved their bus. So they didn't want it to just like ride off into the sunset unnoticed. So they created a campaign called Unintroducing the Volkswagen Bus, soon at no dealerships near you. That's pretty intriguing. If you see this bus driving off into the sunset and it's being unintroduced and it's soon not going to be available, that's going to intrigue you to read the body copy. And what the body copy in this ad talks about is this campaign that was created where they want to hear your stories about your adventures in your Volkswagen bus. Luckily, my brother has one, and we borrowed it to go to a bunch of music festivals, so I could tell some stories. So I thought this was pretty intriguing, because it made this case for, even though they're not selling a product, they're creating this space where people could connect and add to the story of the iconic Volkswagen bus. So I thought that was a really cool idea. Another Volkswagen bus is a really different way to go. The story of this pencil is definitely worth writing about, is yours. So you're like, okay, what does a pencil have to do with a Volkswagen? But it talks about the journey that the actual pencil went through and how it traveled through all these places in the world. And this copy reads like a travelogue, and you actually hear the voice and tone of the pencil through the copy. And the call to action here is, it's time to get out there. So you have to buy a Volkswagen SUV and get out there and travel yourself, just like the pencil. So I thought that was a really creative way to sell a product without actually showing the product. So that's an intriguing thing to do. Okay, let's talk about the whole month in one fell swoop. So this week we're getting things ramped up by first working on this discussion board, and I'll go into specifics about each of the week 1 assignments in a minute. But I want to kind of paint a picture of how all these projects work in tandem with each other and why it's really important that you stay up to speed, because if you get behind, it's going to be like running up a hill of sand, and nobody wants to run up a hill of sand because it's exhausting. So this week we're going to start with the discussion board with Settle and Alaric's 15 catalog of needs. That's where you're going to click on the Google Doc link and choose your nonprofit. Once you sign up for a nonprofit, no one else can take that one. So I emptied out the list. I realized this morning I hadn't taken out my students from last month. So the list is wide open. Some students have signed up already. So if you have a passion project, if you love animals, you love kids, you like the environment, go find an organization that really speaks to you, because you're going to be working on them as your client for the entire month. So with Settle and Alaric's 15 catalog of needs, let me go to that one first. I think that one is here. What you're going to do, oops, I need to be in preview. Whoop, week 1, discussion. So you're going to use the Google Doc and you're going to choose your organization. Once you sign up for it, it's yours. You're going to develop a campaign for them. Now what we're going to do is some research on the competition, and we're going to use Settle and Alaric's 15 catalog of needs to help us understand the psychology behind advertising. Now your textbook for this month, which is hugely important, you're going to use it in every week in most every assignment that you use, and it's especially important for the ad concepts that we're doing. So it is an ebook that you should have gotten a code for in your Full Sail email account. You download the book into your Vital Source bookshelf. You must have it today. If you don't have a code, go back and check your email, double check the spam folder. If you don't have the code, call FSO support immediately and they will get you a code, because you really do need the book. To get you started, though, I explain here how Settle and Alaric's 15 catalog of needs works, and it's based on these 15 psychological needs like dominance, diversion, stimulation, understanding. Every piece of advertising that's out there connects to more than one of these needs at the same time. So what you're going to be doing is you're going to go out into the internet and you're going to find 2 print ads from your competition. So how do we do that? Let me do a quick demonstration. So using a Google search, say we've chosen an animal nonprofit and I need to find their competition. So I'm going to Google animal nonprofit print ad images. And when I do that, a whole bunch of things comes up. So I'm going to click on images, and you can see here there's a bunch of ads. Now remember, an advertisement is going to have, whoops, I clicked on the wrong one. Let me go back. Is going to have a headline and body copy and a call to action. So you want to make sure you're choosing print ads. So make sure you're looking through there. Like, this is not a print ad. That is a magazine cover. You don't want a magazine cover. You actually want to look at print ads, because that's what you're going to be doing this month. So make sure you're looking at print ads. World Wildlife Fund does some of the most amazing ad campaigns ever. So an ad is going to have a headline and some body copy and a call to action, usually in the form of a website URL. So you're going to go find 2 ads that represent your competition, and you're going to stick them in the discussion board like I did here with the Pasadena Humane Society. And then I'm going to connect this ad to more than one of these needs in Settle and Alaric's 15 catalog of needs. I'm not just going to connect them, but I'm going to explain in a strong rationale why it connects. So I may say that this ad connects to understanding because it touches on the idea of how adding a best friend to your life can make your life more full. What else did I say down here? I connected it to nurturance and how these animals, nurturance means, so you say, let me back up a second. When you write a rationale, You always want to use research to back up your argument. So what I give you here is directly from the Felton textbook, the definitions of each one of these 15 catalog of needs. So if you're saying that the ad falls into nurturance, which is, quote, the need to provide care for others, unquote, and you put your in-text citation there, then the next sentence should explain how that ad demonstrates nurturance. So the best way to work on rationales this month is to use the research to back up any claims you're making. So if you say that this cute puppy ad fits into nurturance, first define what nurturance means using the research that we usually provide for you, and then explain how that does. How does it tie into nurturance? So that's what you're going to do. You're going to find 2 ads of your competition. You're going to plug them into the discussion board. You're going to define how they fit into more than one category, because remember, every ad's going to fit into more than one. You're going to define that category and then explain how it fits into that category. You're writing in third person all the time. I don't want to see any I think, I believe, I concur. It's not about a personal essay. It's not a personal opinion. You're grounding your rationales in research that back up your claims. Okay? Oops. I don't know what happened there. Okay, so let's go back to the preview. The next thing we have coming up in week 1, let me go back to this. Oh, I didn't finish talking about the discussion board. So once you're done with your 2 ads, you get those up there by Wednesday. So 2 ads that fit into more than one category, describe the category, define it using Felton's words, then explain how it fits in there, bed them into the discussion board, write your rationales underneath, kind of like the example I give you here. Then you're going to come back on Sunday. This is really important that you don't forget to do your response posts. But you have to reply to 3 classmates. You're going to look at their ads and stick their ads into categories they might not have mentioned. Again, defining the category, then explaining how the ad fits into that category. And you're responding to 3 classmates. This month, all your reply posts are in 3s, so keep that in mind. Okay? So that's the discussion board. It has a Wednesday and a Sunday deadline. Let me go back to the course at a glance. The next thing you should be working on and should already be reading the articles that are attached to this is the Mastery Research paper. This is all about voice and tone. Let me go to that real quick and explain that. Preview, week 1, Mastery. Am I not in? Yeah. Okay. So you're writing, this is a short essay. It's 750 to 1,000 words. It's due Sunday. The 750 to 1,000 words do not include the title page or the reference page. All you're doing is you're writing about these 3 bullet points, addressing them specifically and using the research that we give you down here below. There's an article called What is Copywriting? How is it important for a designer? You're reading and quoting directly from the Felton textbook, Chapter 9, Establishing Voice. And you can use the Lapatino article too, that 10 strategies to help designers conquer a fear of writing. Then you must go into the Full Sail library and pull a 4th source to add to your paper, because you're going to write about how the role of the copywriter has evolved from its historical beginnings and what does that mean for what's going on now in the field of media design. You're going to talk about ways copywriting can establish a brand's voice and tone. So here's a hint. Do some research on a really popular brand and explain how an example of, say, Starbucks, how they develop a voice and tone for their brand, and bring in that 4th piece of research from the library by searching a popular brand. Then the last thing you're going to do is identify and describe some key strategies for writing copy that effectively communicates the features and benefit of a company or an institution's product for an intended audience. That's right out of the textbook, so that's right there for you. So this isn't a long paper, but you have to do some reading. And like I always tell my students, read with intention. Take these bullet points. I always say print this out on a piece of paper and have it right there next to you as you're reading, and make notes on your reading on items that connect to these questions that we're asking you to write about. That way, when you go back to write your paper and you need to pull in the research, you've already annotated it in your reading by making notes of how it connects to these 3 questions. Okay, so that's due Sunday. This is an APA style paper. Everything you write at Full Sail University is in APA style, which means you must use in-text citations when you're directly quoting or paraphrasing from any of the research or the textbooks. You must use 12-point Times New Roman with 1-inch margins all the way around. Your title page should have the running head. It should have the title of the paper, your name, and Full Sail University. Your last page is your reference page, which should be formatted correctly. There is a Microsoft Word template for APA style. So what you want to do is you want to open Microsoft Word and then go under the file, new from template, and then go and find the APA template that's right there in your choices and use that as the basis for your paper. You can go in and double click on the running head and put your title of the paper in there. You can go on the title page and click on the things that are there and change it to your name and your university and your title. And then you can just use the rest of the template to use for your paper. So the only thing you want to do is you want to delete the table of contents and everything after the references page. But this way it's already formatted for you, so just use the template every single time and you should be okay. If you struggle with getting started with writing, it helps to use these writing prompts as an outline. So, understand the role of the copywriter. Go do some research. It's right there in one of the articles. Make notes of it. Talk about what's in the article. Make an outline and then, build from there. The Full Sail Writing Center is also available to you. So if you have a first draft done by, say, Wednesday, or Thursday, make an appointment with the Writing Center right away, and they'll meet with you one-on-one in a go-to meeting. You send them your writing and the assignment, and they will help you with that as well. If you're struggling with research, contact me. I love doing research. I have all these English degrees, so what I do well is research, so I'm really I'm offering to help you with that. We'll go deeper into library research in week 3, because you're going to be doing another paper in week 3, which takes me back to the course at a glance. Okay, the last project you're working on for this week, okay, the paper's due Sunday. The project Headlines That Inspire is also due Sunday. And this is another example of going out into the internet or grabbing some physical magazines and pulling headlines that work. Find ads that have really intriguing headlines like unintroducing the Volkswagen bus or I am not a pet, and pull these ads and go into a Microsoft Word document and put the little thumbnail of the ad in there, and then you're going to explain why that headline works. So let me go pull that assignment up real quick. Go back, go to this. Everything's right here in the platform. So I talk a little bit about creating a swipe file. A swipe file is for your own personal use. It's really helpful to take examples of really strong print ads, web ads, billboards. Maybe it's a YouTube link that has a really cool television commercial posted to it, and have a folder where you can keep everything. I use Pinterest for all my electronic print ads. I have a Pinterest page that is just my swipe file. So every time I find a cool ad, I just drop it into my Pinterest page and they're all there. So you're going to create this swipe file so that you can do this project where you're going to find 5 effective headlines. So using this headline writing basics PDF down here, you're going to read this and use it to support your arguments. You're going to choose 5 headlines that are strong. You're going to put them in the Microsoft Word document either by including the thumbnail of the ad or typing out the headline. Then you're going to write a couple of sentences of a strong rationale explaining why that headline works. Again, it's not your personal opinion. There's something going on with the headline. Maybe it was intriguing. Maybe it was a command headline. Connect it to the article headline writing basics to help you write your strong rationales. So choose 5 headlines and give me 5 rationales as why they work. If you want to use some of the ads as you're looking for the Settle and Alric 15 catalog of needs ads for your competition, grab some ads for your headline project while you're out there. So think about working smart as we're working through all the assignments every week. Okay, so that's due Sunday. So let me go back to the course plans. So how this operates is we have a Wednesday deadline this week, and everything else is due Sunday. So your reply posts are due Sunday, your paper is due Sunday, and your headlines project is due Sunday. You'll also notice that the Week 2 assignment, Testimonial Ad Mastery 4.2.1, is open, and that is when you finish your Week 1 work. If you get it done early, get started on the tutorials for Week 2, because the Testimonial Ad is going to require 6 sketches and 3 comps using InDesign. So you want to get make sure you're working out your time management so that you understand everything that's going on. So we're going to do the testimonial sketches and the initial comps in Week 2, and then in Week 3 we're going to do revisions, almost as if we met with the client and they're giving us their feedback on what they want to see change so that we can create a cohesively branded campaign for their nonprofit organization. In Week 2, we're going to develop target audience profiles so that we know who we're writing to and who we're designing to for this testimonial ad campaign. In Week 3, we're going to talk about the campaign itself in a research paper. It opens in Week 3, but it's not due till Week 4. But again, these 2-week projects, you should always get started with them early rather than later. The campaign research paper is 7 to 10 pages about the campaign that you're designing. So you're talking about your nonprofit organization, your target audience, the voice and tone. Basically, all the research you've done in the first couple of weeks, you're going to use to inform your paper for Weeks 3 and 4. In Week 3, we're doing a writing workshop where we're going to explore taglines and how to create taglines or slogans for our nonprofit organizations. And then in Week 4, we're going to finish up the research paper and turn in a really strong piece of writing about your campaign. And then we're going to follow up by writing our Mastery Journal, which is a reflection post on your process for developing this ad campaign over the past 3 weeks. So that's how everything fits together. So the early work informs the later work. So that's why I say it's really important that you stay up to speed with everything. So again, your deadlines, the Settle and Alric discussion board is due initial post Wednesday with 3 reply posts on Sunday. Your mastery research paper essay, written in 3rd person, is due on Sunday. Remember, it's APA style. If you need help with APA style, you can do a really quick thing. You can do this. You're going to, nope, don't do that. Don't do that. Instead, just type OWL APA in your Google search bar, and this amazing website will come up. And everything you need to know about APA format is right here. So you can, here's the format. They give you examples of everything, the different sections. Here's everything you need to know about in-text citations, how to do your reference list. There's things up here on using research on how to properly cite, quoting and paraphrasing and summary, so how to actually use your research. It's really important that you not just have research, but that you use it properly to support your arguments. Okay? Yeah, cookies, cookies, cookies. I get it. Okay. Then the last thing that's due is your Headlines That Inspires project with your 5 headlines and your 5 strong rationales based on the reading that you do. With that project, I want to stress this. You are not talking about typography. You're not talking about the image. You're not talking about the color. You're talking about the words themselves. That's really, really important. So as you're working on your headlines project and you're writing about these 5 headlines, do not mention typography. Do not mention color. Do not mention how it works with the layout or the image. You're just writing about the words themselves. Why did the copywriter choose unintroducing the Volkswagen bus, as opposed to saying something like, no more buses being made. You know, there's a reason why copywriters choose the words they do. So this month is all about focusing on the words and how to clearly communicate a message. So I'm stressing that because you will lose points really easily if you write about typography, images, color, or layout, or you do something like give me a headline from a newspaper article or a magazine article. This is a copywriting class, not a journalism class. So I want to see print ads, not magazine articles. Okay? The week 2 project is open if you want to get started on tutorials. Now, this is a lot. This class, like I said, in the community discussion board moves quickly. So you need to stay up to speed on everything. So time management is key, and I'll share my post on time management tomorrow in the community discussion board. This archive will be posted by tonight. So if you're working on something and you get stuck, the archive is available. I'm available. Just shoot me an email, call me during office hours on the phone. I did put up a reminder and send a message to everybody that I am out at a music festival Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, and I'll be back home Sunday afternoon. I will try to answer email, but there's no guarantee that the Wi-Fi out in the forest where we're camping is going to be working. So please get started on everything now and hit me up with questions before I leave. But if you do have questions, just reach out and I will try to get back to you. You can always call my Google Voice number too and leave a message, and as soon as I can, I'll get back to you. But email and messaging through the platform is your best way to contact me, because I do always check messages all the time, and my phone dings every time there's a new message. Okay? So I'm really looking forward to working with all of you this month, and if you're watching this on the archive and you couldn't be here live and you have any questions as you're starting to work on these, please do not hesitate to reach out. Okay, Brianna, Ashley, Franklin, do you have any questions?
Hello?
No, I think I'm good.
You're good? Okay, good, Ashley. Hi, Brianna. Any questions? You can type if you can't talk. No questions. All right, great. Next week, we're meeting Monday at 7. I usually do these on Mondays, but last night I was at a concert, so I couldn't hold the session. So next Monday at 7 o'clock, we'll be talking about testimonial ads and target audience profiles, okay? So good luck with everything this week, and don't forget, if you need anything, reach out to me. I am here to help. Bye.